a crazy concept, but we did. I think back to my childhood, which is increasingly far away, and I used to play with Star Wars action figures. My kids still have some. Where were those action figures made? They were made, if you look at the little stamp on the bottom of their feet, they were made in Ohio. I had a computer and a TV in my room as a teenager. The TV was supposed to be a computer monitor, but late at night it tended to be used more as a TV. The computer was an Atari. It was made in California. The television was a Zenith. It was made in the Midwest. Right here. A television made in America. A computer made in America. We had a telephone that I used to talk long hours with my high school girlfriend on, and that telephone was made where? It was made here. Imagine. I mean, those days are long, long, long ago, part of a mythic past that only old codgers such as myself can remember. In my day, Sonny, I used to walk 12 miles uphill to Kmart to buy my American television in the snow, and I carried it back on my back. And it's like this old story. How can there ever have been things made here? I mean, you think about it. Think about what you use every day. Think about the things that make up your day, and you have to ask yourself, of all of those products, how many were made here? I mean, I think about the products that made up my day, this day, today. I wake up, what's the first thing I do? I get dressed. I get dressed, and, you know, I put stuff on. And what is it? I look like these pants. These pants, made in India. These boots, well, they're made in Italy. This liturgical thingamy, this shirt here, it's made in Canada, which is so close, but not quite. The underpants I'm wearing, they were hecho in El Salvador. And no, you can't see the label. And I don't know where my socks were made, but I am willing, and I'm not a betting man, to lay money that they were not made in this hemisphere. The laptop I used to print out this thing, it might have been designed in Cupertino, California, but it was made in China. The motorcycle I rode here on, made in Japan. My whole morning, I don't think my hands have come into contact with an American-made product. And we're used to this. We are used to this because for 20, 25 years, that's been the way it is. We don't make anything. Why would we need to make anything? That's not our job as Americans. Our job as Americans is to be the consumers who consume the products that the producers produce. It's our national ethic, being a consumer. It's the way we define ourselves as consumers. It is a central part of our identity. And because being a consumer is the thing that names us and claims us, it has also come to a very large extent to define how we approach everything in our lives. And that includes church. A lot of people, in fact most people, are so defined by that they approach church as faith products. People shop for churches. It's a normal thing. I'm church shopping. We want to try a church before we buy a church. And we research churches with the same intensity that we might use to make a consumer electronics purchase. Or we try them all, one after another, like new pairs of shoes, until we find one that fits just right and goes nicely with that new pair of slacks we bought. Why shouldn't we do it that way? We're doing what we're supposed to do. We're being consumers. Because You wouldn't want a church that didn't exactly match your specific personal worship and faith needs now, would you? You wouldn't be being a good consumer. You wouldn't be shopping properly. And if you hadn't picked out exactly the right thing, well, that might make you grumpy, unhappy, and you wouldn't do that. But I don't think it could possibly make you as grumpy and as unhappy as the people that Pastor Mike described in his reading this morning. These were the Israelites as they bumbled and stumbled their way through the wilderness, following Moses towards this land of promise that he had said was out there, but just didn't seem to be showing up. The passages we heard today from the book of Moses describe how challenging that journey towards the promised land was for Moses. And the biggest challenge did not come from the desert. The biggest challenge did not come from hunger or thirst. It didn't come from the peoples who wanted to make war on Israel as it passed through on its way. His biggest headache, what gave him a crushing spiritual migraine, wasn't any of those things, but rather the people who were following along behind him. The crowd of grumbling Israelites. Because they couldn't understand why they were there. I mean, yeah, a land of milk and honey sounded nice, but where was it? You've promised us this thing. Where is it? They were used to Egypt, where they had been slaves, where their sole job, the only thing they had to do, was do what they were told. They worked when they were told. They woke up when they were told. They ate when they were told. They drank when they were told. But now, they were moving towards a land of promise. And it meant that they had to struggle. They had to define themselves. They had to find a way to become that people that God wanted them to be. And what that required wasn't just patience, grumbling. That required effort, strife, endurance, imagination, and a passion for what God was calling them to be. They had to trust God. They had to press forward towards the vision that Moses had been given by God.